Alright, so August is almost over. It has been an absolutely miserable month for my channel. I've been super behind in everything I'm doing. But today, I'm going to give you 3 movie reviews that came out in August. Number 1, Heart of Stone. Number 2, The Meg 2, The Trench. And number 3, Blue Beetle. Spoiler alert, I liked all these movies. These will all 3 be positive reviews. Specifically, Heart of Stone and The Meg 2, which people said that yeah, the movie kinda sucked and we're gonna hate on everybody who likes the movies. Personally, I like the movies. If you got a problem with that, go sue me. Those will be the first 2 movies we'll talk about. Then we will talk about Blue Beetle. I'm very excited to talk about that one as well. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. After you guys subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, and comment down below what is your opinions on all of these movies. Was August a good month for you? I will have a ranking of all these movies after I see Gran Turismo in a couple of days, and maybe Spider-Man Lotus. I don't have a ranking for you after that. With that said, we're going to get started with Heart of Stone, Gal Gadot's new spy thriller action movie. I gotta say, I quite liked it. Starting with what the initial reactions were and what people were saying about the movie, I was ready to walk out of this one hating it, calling it cliche and boring and dumb. And from the very beginning, it's very clearly a Mission Impossible knockoff, to where you got the woman doing the impossible stunts that should no man actually be able to do. Then you got all the high-tech stuff, and then instantly you pull out the plot. It's formulated like that. But me, I found that very entertaining, and my motto is, if you find a formula that works, why not keep doing that formula? Sure, it gets annoying when you see thousands of knockoffs, but I did really think it was pretty cool watching all this. And the movie has a way of having new, interesting tech, honestly. I've never really seen a movie before where these people have this big object that tells them literally everything, and you got people hating that, and those are the bad guys. And you got people using that for good, those are the good guys. I've never really seen a movie like that before, so always had something more interesting to keep it away from just being a Mission Impossible knockoff. The story was more interesting in that way. Speaking of story and the writing, I think this one actually did really good. At the beginning of the movie, I thought I saw this going a completely different direction. I saw her with this crew, like they didn't know who she was, and then there's some funny moments there, which would have been an okay plot. But then all of a sudden, the love interest becomes a murderer and freaking shoots all of them, and all of a sudden he's the bad guy, and my jaw was on the floor when that happened. That was a very, very good twist. And there's just little twists and turns and little surprises like that throughout the rest of the movie. That's what makes this movie more compelling, is that it's got enough uniqueness. And I don't see why people are saying this is the most average movie ever, because I found it had enough unique stuff to keep it entertaining. On top of that, the action is pretty cool too. For a Netflix original movie, it has explosions, whole thing's exploding, people falling out of the sky, and it all looks really, really, really good. The action sequences are all fun to watch, and so it's got that budget there that makes this to be an entertaining movie. Not only is it an entertaining movie, but it's just like, it's really fun and has enough uniqueness that I can't see why people are disliking this movie. Heart of Stone, I walked into expecting to be a train wreck. I walked out of it saying, yeah, that was a fun action movie that I would not mind watching again. That's something we need more of, is we don't need Mission Impossible type action movies all the time. We don't need John Wick action movies. I like just the smaller, big movies with Gal Gadot in them, fighting bad guys. I found it really entertaining. Speaking of Gal Gadot, the cast here is quite good. I don't know why Film Twitter all of a sudden decided to start hating on Gal Gadot. I always thought she was a great actress. And, like, all the other cast members were also really great as well in this movie. So, do I think it's a home run? Do I think it's like a slam dunk? No, it's just like a triple or like a 3-point shot, because it gets what it's done with, like, having the most minimum of problems that it could do. I don't remember a single problem about this movie. I just remember that it was a fun-to-watch action movie starring Gal Gadot and was really unique, and that's just what I thought of this movie, which is why Heart of Stone for me is getting a B+. I want to give it an A-, but I feel like an A- would be too high for this type of movie. But anyways, this is something I think Netflix needs to make more of, which unfortunately we're probably not going to because people didn't like it. I personally really dug it. Let's talk about The Meg 2. I saw this one a couple weeks back in the theaters with my dad. We both wanted to see this movie. I was not a fan of the first movie. I thought it was actually a really bad movie. I was so excited to watch it when it came out in 2018. I watched it. Big thumbs down. I mean, I thought that movie was messy, all over the place. Even like rewatching it, it's just not entertaining. My dad liked it though, so he wanted to see this one. I really like the trailers for this one, but I came in with this one not excited because, I mean, I knew the potential of how bad it could be. And then, like, down in the movies, going to watch it, fully expecting it to be a miserable film. And I gotta say, if you're going into this one expecting Jaws, you're gonna be disappointed. If you're going into this one expecting the next big great shark movie, you're gonna be disappointed. If you go into this one expecting Jason Tatum, or not Jason Tatum, Jason Statham, driving jet skis, fighting big giant sharks, and like doing some weird corporate espionage stuff under the sea, that's what you're gonna get. And that's what I was expecting. I was expecting this movie to make no sense, have not a plot, not be knitted up at all. And in a way, the movie was kind of knitted up just a little bit better than the first. The first one I thought was really messy because like we killed the shark, and then all of a sudden there's another shark. Chaos ensues some more. And I was like, oh yeah, here we go again. With this one, I felt like it was still equally as messy, but just paced a little better to where it was more entertaining instead of a bunch of big shark scenes and then like no shark scenes for the next half hour. A bunch of big shark scenes, no shark scenes for the next 15 minutes. This is definitely doesn't have a lot of shark scenes in the middle of the movie. They're down, they are in this like little submarine area, and they're fighting corporate espionage bad guys, which I thought was a pretty cool plot. The villains were nothing unique, the villains were nothing special, but I thought it was a pretty fun plot. Because we've seen Jason Statham do stuff like this before. Seen him go on corporate espionage missions, and it's fun watching him do that. So watching him do that, and then knowing that we're going to get a battle with a shark at the end of the movie is pretty cool. And I thought that the whole pacing issue in the first movie was paced a lot better. Even though there was like not a lot of shark, I really did enjoy the middle act. I thought it did a lot of cool things. The cast here obviously is great. Jason Statham, he was big American lead here. We got a Chinese actor. I'm not even going to try to say his name because I would butcher it. But he was another great one here. Just everybody here is great. Little Ray Howard, he is back in this movie. And I absolutely loved him. I thought he was annoying in the first one as DJ. But he's back in this one and he's absolutely hilarious. I really did like this cast here. And like the horrors of it all. Like, you know, when they're going down below and when there is a shark attack. It's intense. It's kind of scary seeing the sharks here. I think that is just really cool, and the sharks absolutely look great. And like this is a movie that makes its creatures look absolutely phenomenal, that I really did like. And it's also a movie that has deaths, and the deaths are... The movie was rated R, it would be much better. But the deaths for this movie are pretty gruesome as well. I mean, like, there's one where a head implodes, and I think it would have been cool if it was rated R, but it was still pretty cool. There's people that die that you don't expect to be die. There's people that die that you do expect to die. But I thought, like, it was all pretty entertaining, and that's what I went to this movie for, is an entertaining movie. I like the cast, I like the kills, I like the sharks, I even like some of the corporate espionage stuff in the middle of the movie, because it's all just entertaining, and it's all just a movie that you go to the theaters to watch. Jason Statham fight a giant shark and a bunch of corporate espionage bad guys. There's some funny jokes here. Like I said, DJ is absolutely hilarious in this movie. He was annoying in the first one. He is great here. And, like, his chemistry with everybody else was pretty great. And that's the thing. That's what you want from these movies. And I don't see why people are going on this one saying it's boring. Well, I can see why people are saying it's boring. For me, I thought it improved on a couple of things in the first movie. Obviously, it didn't improve on a couple of things because, like, we still barely had the sharks and all that, but it improved on, like, the pacing and how entertaining it was by adding more stuff in that I would be entertained by. And it's just kind of like that. and I enjoyed myself watching the movie. I think it's a solid enough movie. Sure, I definitely could have used more sharks, more squid, more monsters attacking, but when we get to that ending scene, it sure is a lot of fun watching Jason Statham blow up giant sharks. And then, like, even the action sequences where Jason Statham's not blowing up giant sharks, he's just fighting corporate espionage bad guys, I think it's pretty fun. I thought that this movie was an absolute blast of a movie. I had a lot of fun with it. It's not perfect. If you're going into this one expecting Jaws or anything, you're not going to get that. You're going to get a stupid movie, Jason Statham fighting corporate espionage and giant sharks. But I've said that way too many times in this video. I just had fun with it. It's just a fun movie. I did have problems walking out of the theater, but going on, I feel more positive on it because of just, it's a fun theater experience than the negatives. So I barely even remember the negatives. I don't even remember what I was going to talk about in the negative section. I have notes, but I can't use these because I don't know what I was going to talk about in the negative section. I don't even really feel that anymore because it's just a movie that I saw to see with my dad, and I walked out of it. I had an absolute blast with it, and so I would recommend you see this movie. Not really on a big screen, it's already out on digital, but I would recommend you see this movie because, boy, is it fun. And then, finally, our last movie on this list, we got Blue Beetle, the new DC movie, the start of the DC universe. I was so hyped for this movie, it's unbelievable. I could not wait to watch Blue Beetle because the trailers, the first trailer was great, the second one was pretty bad, but I just wanted to see what James Gunn was talking about. Because if you remember, James Gunn said The Flash was one of the best superhero movies ever, and I just bought The Flash yesterday. I absolutely love that movie. And he said this one is a really good superhero movie, and even though I thought it had potential to be terrible, the trailers didn't look good, I walked in this one with an open mind, excited to see what James Gunn would do, and James Gunn blew my mind away. This is the best DC movie we've had in years. I would say that this movie is almost better than The Suicide Squad for the best DC movie, because I walked out of this one absolutely loving this movie and saying it's a, like, top 10 superhero movie. It's not a top 10 superhero movie, but it's, if I could include it in my DCEU ranking, I would. I'm not going to, because apparently it's the start of the new DCU, but let's just say I absolutely love this movie. The cast here, like this family, the family dynamic is absolutely great. Zolom, I'm not even going to try to say his last name because I'm going to butcher it. But he's in this movie. He played Miguel from Cobra Kai, and he's absolutely great here. I felt like he was feeling like a little more like Miguel as well, like if you just strap the Blue Beetle suit to Miguel. But like his family chemistry was never that strong on the show, and it's great here. George Lopez, always a standout for me. I really loved him in this movie. He was absolutely hilarious, had the best jokes, and a lot of scenes he was in, I was just dying laughing. From the trailers, I thought he was going to be annoying, but he's just not annoying. He's actually charming and has some heartfelt emotions in the film. Speaking of heartfelt emotions, there is a lot of emotions here with the family dynamic and losing someone that's actually, like, really sad. There's a part in the movie where someone died that you were not expecting to die. And you feel that, like, you feel that in your bones. Like, it's actually really sad because you just see this family just is facing all these hard times and then even more hard times go. And then, like, there's some big emotions during the end of the movie just with that. And it's really, really sad. Like, even the villain, there's a part at the end of the movie and, like, we get the villain's flashbacks and it's just really sad. And you get the payoff when the villain turns good and finally kills the main villain. And you feel that that's actually, like, really emotional and really great. And just, like, shocking how they just did it that way. And then, like, the action, obviously, aside from the family emotions and the action, and not the action, but the family emotions and, like, the family dynamic of the cast, we also got some pretty great action here. Some of the best superhero action. It's got some of that Cobra Kai mixed martial arts. And it's got a practical suit, so it doesn't just look like CGI, like a CGI mess like The Flash was. All due respect to The Flash, I love that movie, but, I mean, CGI was pretty bad. This movie has fan-freaking-tastic CGI that looks fan-freaking amazing. And I just absolutely love the action sequences. I feel like Seeing Blue Beetle create whatever he wants was actually just really cool. Fighting the big bad guy, fighting just little bad guys, taking them down. I just absolutely adored all of those sequences that he was in. Like I said, the movie looks quite really good. It's very funny. It's very heartfelt. It's the best DC movie we've had in years. That's for sure. And I think a little bit of the bonus comes from it's the first movie in so long that me and my brother have went to go see, and we both just walked out of the movie absolutely loving it. I walked out of the movie, like literally out of the movie theater saying, yeah, it was really good. And then my brother said he loved it, and like we got to talking, and there's been like, it's the first movie that we've seen all year that we could say that we actually love. So that just puts a little bit of a thing on it. I absolutely love Blue Beetle. It's in my top 10 of the year. I think it's an absolute masterpiece of a DC movie. Captures everything you want in the vibe, the emotions, the action, the comedy, all that you want from a superhero movie, while not being a big end-of-the-world movie. It's personal. It's got its personal emotions, but it doesn't have to be a big end-of-the-world movie or predictable, because it proves that superhero movies can still be good. DC is the only one doing that nowadays, proving that superhero movies can still be entertaining and fun, and not just, oh look, a big bad threat that's going to destroy the world. It's not that. And I really respect that from DC. Even though they've put out Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, these last couple of movies have just proven that not every superhero movie needs to be a bunch of action and stupid jokes all the time. It could be heartfelt stories and just fun superhero movies. And I'm excited to see what comes out of James Gunn's universe after that. I did have one problem, though. Throughout the entire film, I felt like we could have used more Blue Beetle. Like, at the point where it was very clear, and I thought it was reaching the finale and the movie was going to be over in, like, 10 more minutes, which I'm glad it still had, like, 45 left. I thought it was, like, going to be a real short movie. But at that point, I genuinely thought to myself that Blue Beetle was barely in this. Blue Beetle had one action sequence, and then it's all Jaime Reyes, and then we get just, like, finally, when we head on to the end of the film, we get the Blue Beetle, but I feel like a couple more action scenes with the Blue Beetle would do fit. I know I was just saying that it doesn't have to have a lot of action to be compelling, and I kind of contradict myself because I really love this third act, but I gotta say that I really liked it, but I do think it would be cool if we had more of the Blue Beetle suit to solidify this relationship between the suit and Jaime. That's my only problem. I absolutely love this movie. I absolutely think that this is one of the best DC Comics, best superhero movies that showed up in a long time. I absolutely really love this movie. So for me, it's going to get an A. I mean, a superhero movie that gets an A that's not The Flash, I mean, that's very surprising. But anyways, what did you guys think of all three of these movies? I want to know all that and more. This is only my personal opinion. I want to know what you thought. You probably didn't like Heart of Stone or The Meg 2. I think I was like the only person on Earth that did. Meg 2 started out with a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, fun fact. But Blue Beetle, I really am curious what you thought of that. That's one of my favorite DC movies. It could have potential on a rewatch to be one of my favorite superhero movies. But I just absolutely loved it. Anyways, thank you guys for clicking on this video. I'm going to have an MCU show ranking. That's my next video. Then I'm going to finally rank the DC EU. And then after that, I mean, I'm going to see Gran Turismo this weekend. And so, yeah, I'm going to have a lot of more videos coming up. Thanks for clicking on this one. Subscribe to the Nerd Army. Peace out.